Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so glad to see all of you here today. I hope you had a great week. I know that you had your rock by you and you remembered how strong and tough you are and that you are the foundation of the church. And I just hope that it stayed with you all week, made you feel good because you are the foundation of the church. And we love you and we miss you. And I have to say, I miss hugging y'all and seeing your faces. But this whole video thing is pretty cool. And I love that we are still connected. And remember, anybody can watch these videos. So if you have a friend and you want to tell them about it, tell them about it. Tell your mom and dad to let their mom and dad know. We love for anyone to watch these videos. And I want to get a couple of shout outs today because last week I welcomed a bunch of you. Well, this week I just want to remember to say a shout out to William and Josie, and I'm so glad y'all are here with us today too. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Do y'all remember last week? Last week you had a journal. This is our Sunday school journal and came in that awesome box that Katie put together for you. Well, I hope that we use this journal so you can look back at this time and remember some of the Sunday school lessons we did. Last week, I asked you to write in your journal the word Pentecost, okay? We talked about Pentecost being the season that our church is in, and I asked you to color green. Well, I actually colored a tree and made it green, and I wore a green shirt because you guessed it, the color of Pentecost is green. Why do you think it's green? When I think of green, I think of growth. I think of things starting, like a green tree, a green grass, things growing and getting stronger and prettier. And I think that's what this time is. Jesus is telling us all these stories to help us grow and be better people of God. And that's what we want. So, if you haven't yet, take some time, color something green. We are going to hear another story today. This story is a continuation of that one from last week. Do y'all remember what happened last week? Can anybody remember? We talked about the foundation. Well, if you can't remember or you've forgotten, let me remind you real quick. So Jesus was with his friends, the disciples, and he asked them what? Who am I? And who knew who he was? That's right, Peter. Peter knew that Jesus was the Messiah, the Son of God. So everybody was so happy. Jesus was so proud of Peter, and they talked about that. And now Jesus was like, okay, well, let's move forward here. Now that you know that I am the Son of God, what do we do now? Well, at this point, Jesus starts saying, let me tell you what's about to happen. He's looking at all his friends, the disciples, and he's saying to them, this is what's going to happen to me, okay? I am going to be put in a really bad place. I'm going to suffer. People are not going to be nice to me. And then, unfortunately, I'm going to have to die. But 3 days later, I'm going to rise again. Well, his friends are listening to this story and they're like, say what? Are you kidding me? We are not going to let that happen to you, Jesus. We are not going to let you go through all these horrible things because that's what you do with your friends. You don't want them to go through something terrible. But Jesus said, Peter and all the rest of you, do not be a stumbling block. Let's pause right there. What is a stumbling block? Well, what I want you to do is you've turned and opened your journal. I want you to get out a pen or a marker or something from your cool box, and I want you to write the word stumbling block, okay? Write the word stumbling block in your journal now. All right, now, what is a stumbling block? How many of you have seen these everywhere? You're wearing them to school, your parents are wearing them, everybody's wearing them in the grocery store, your teachers are wearing them. These are all over the place. Now, some people would think this is a stumbling block. Why? Because they're uncomfortable. Maybe you don't like them. Maybe they make you hot. People just look at these as a bad thing. This could be considered a stumbling block, a mask. And sometimes we just want to take it off and just not worry about it. Another stumbling block could actually be a block. Maybe some things in your way. Or maybe when you're walking down the street and you see a limb and it's in your way. These are stumbling blocks. Things that prevent you from being just normal and just happy. And, you don't want to think something bad's happening. And this right here, sometimes you think, what in the world is going on? These are stumbling blocks. Now, what I did in my journal is I drew some pictures of some different stumbling blocks. I drew a tree that could be in your way, or I drew a picture of a mask, and even a block. So Jesus is telling Peter, look, don't be a stumbling block. And even though you're going to see these stumbling blocks, you've got to trust me. He told Peter that because he was the Messiah and the Son of God, this had to happen. You had to go through these things. But it's going to be okay because he is the Son of God and he will make sure that everything will be okay. So he told Peter, he said, even with all your stumbling blocks, I want you to keep following me. Trust me. Follow me. And I will make sure everything is okay. So that's what his disciples did. They gave up everything. They trusted him. They put on their mask. They moved out the blocks. And they followed Jesus. No matter what he said, no matter what he did, they knew they just trusted him. And that's what we have to do. It's hard right now, but we have to trust in God and know that everything is going to be okay. And we're going to push those stumbling blocks out of the way, and we're going to just keep on trucking, and we're going to follow Jesus. Now, in your sketchbook, this cool book right here, look at those awesome colors. What I want you to do is I want you to turn to a page in your sketchbook. Now, you're going to need somebody to help you, mom or dad or grandparent or an older brother or sister. And I want you to take one of your markers and I want you to take a piece of white paper from your sketchbook. You can keep it in your book. Place it on the floor. Take your shoe off and put your foot on the paper. Does that sound crazy? Once you get your foot on the paper, get someone to trace your foot, okay? I want you to pause the video and do that now. All right, so you should all have your foot traced. Now, on your paper, your awesome foot, I just colored mine and made it all pretty, and I wrote these words. I will follow Jesus. Can you do that in your book? It's a great reminder that no matter what stumbling blocks are getting in our way, we're going to stay strong and we're going to keep on walking and we're going to keep following Jesus no matter what, even if we don't like things going on. This is an awesome reminder that everything will be okay if we just follow Jesus. Isn't that awesome? It's so good to hear right now, especially when we're walking around in all these masks. Get rid of those stumbling blocks and follow Jesus and know everything will be okay. Now, I am really, really glad that you join me each week so I can talk about these lessons because you know what? Really helped me a lot too. So this week, when you get down or things keep getting in your way, people, masks, trees, branches, you just keep staying strong, just like that rock, and follow Jesus. Does that sound like a good plan? I know you can do it. All right, let's take a moment. We're going to get real quiet and still. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for tracing your foot and working in your journal. These are going to be great things for you to have as you go through this time. But right now, let's get real quiet and still, and we're going to say a prayer to help us get through the next week. Okay? So everybody bow your head. Loving God, help us to follow you more closely. We pray especially for all these children in the Church of the Mediator. Guide our ears, our eyes, our mouth, our hands and feet, that we may engage in your mission to love one another in all the world. Amen. All right, boys and girls. Now, don't forget, color that foot. I can't wait to see what all you've done. And stay strong like your rock. And I will see y'all back next week, stumbling blocks and all.